Good morning, doctor. How are you doing?
Good morning. Great.
Dude, I gotta tell you something. I love, first of all, what you've done with this book, Blind Spots, because my dad would just say, look, you don't go see a doctor, just go eat some dirt. You'll feel better. And sometimes I really think that that's what the situation is.
Look, the old dirt theory would have done some good when the peanut allergy prevention dogma came out of the so-called experts telling kids to avoid peanut butter. If they would have known about the basic dirt theory or the basic principle of immune tolerance, they would have not have ignited our modern day peanut allergy epidemic.
Is that the reason why there is one? Because somewhere along the line, we skipped something?
That's right. The experts in the year 2000 issued this strong recommendation for parents to avoid peanut butter for all young children. And they thought it would prevent the development of peanut allergies later in life, but it turns out it causes peanut allergies later in life. Avoidance results in immune sensitization and higher rates of peanut allergies. And so we now know the best practices are to introduce a little bit of peanut butter when a kid is 5 or 6 months of age. And that is protective of peanut allergies late. If they had said nothing or not issued this bold, wrong recommendation, America would not lead the world in peanut allergies today. They ignited this modern day epidemic.
Wow. You know, I've sat down with many medicine men from Native American nations, and they've always said to me, remember, the Western culture practices medicine. Keep that in your heart, practices. Well, how do you feel about subjects like that?
Well, look, we need a civil discourse in medicine. You need to hear from different experts. We need to challenge deeply held assumptions. We've got some massive blind spots in modern medicine. The health of the country is getting worse. Mm-hmm. I mean, half of our nation's children, rather, are obese or overweight. Autism goes up 14% every year for the last 23 consecutive years. And in my field of pancreatic cancer, cancer rates have doubled in the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. Fertility is going down. Sperm counts are going down. The age of puberty is going down. What's going on? Who's working on these problems? We've got to talk about our poison food supply, ultra-processed foods, the role of pesticides, the 1,000 so ingredients that are banned in Europe and Canada but are routinely used as food ingredients in the United States. We've got to talk about the root causes. We can't just tell doctors to focus on billing and coding and then measure them by their throughput and call that a healthcare system. We need to actually talk about health.
Mm-hmm. You know, you talk about those processed foods. You know, I thought, hey, I'm doing really good. I have sauerkraut every day. I'm getting my probiotics. And then I learn, is it processed? And it's like, oh, no, I've been doing it wrong.
Well, one of the leading sources of calories today in the United States, tragically, are seed oils, the vegetable oil, canola oil, corn oil, soybean oil. All these things sound healthy, but they're not. They're denatured at high temperatures. Yep. They are changed in their chemical structure with a solvent. And so these are chemicals, and yet they're 10 to 20% of U.S. calories come from these seed oils. You want to avoid these ultra-processed foods. You want to cook with natural fats or avocado oil, extra virgin olive oil, or coconut oil. These are healthy ingredients. And so we've got to talk about our ultra-processed food system. We've got to talk about school lunch programs, not just putting every kid on Ozempic.
Yeah. So you just you're inside my head right now, because I'm seeing a lot of commercials lately that say 15 seconds out of every day, all it takes is a shot and you can lose weight. Those commercials are really starting to make me nervous about the future.
Look, we can't keep medicating every problem in society. That's what pharma tells us. We've got to deal with the root causes. When you go on Ozempic, you're on it for life, unless you change your lifestyle, unless you actively work out and eat a high-protein diet. So we're trading one problem for another. And while you might see short-term weight loss and a reduction in obesity-related health problems in the short term, remember, these drugs, as they are today, are lowering your muscle mass. They're reducing the amount of muscle. And guess what the number one predictor of how long you live is? It's your muscle mass.
Wow. What about statins? I'm on statins. My body hurts like hell. The doctor says you're wrong. You don't hurt like hell. And I'm going, well, come on, man. And he says, well, I can take you off, but then you know what's going to happen.
Well, statins do cause muscle cramps. That's a known complication. Statins have been shown to save lives, although a recent study found that statins have a survival benefit both in people with high cholesterol and with normal cholesterol levels, suggesting it's not the cholesterol lowering effect as we think. It may be the anti-inflammatory effect, which is a side effect of statins. And there's a lot of other things we can do to reduce general body inflammation, namely eating healthy foods.
The book we're talking about is Blind Spots. I would love to watch somebody read this book because what they're going to do is they're going to get lost in it. In other words, they're going to dive into it and they're going to say, oh my God, oh, let me find something else. It's like a book of knowledge right there in our hands.
Yeah, I wanted to go through the big health topics that relate to everyday decisions and choices people make where they're not being told the truth or medical dogma still looms large. It turns out some of the biggest health recommendations have been reversed, and many people are not even aware, or some of them need to be reversed based on the latest scientific studies. So I wanted to present that medical research directly to people about gut health, about hormone replacement therapy for menopausal women, an amazing therapy that unfortunately has been demonized as causing breast cancer, how to prevent cancer, peanut allergies, what to eat, and a natural yet medically appropriate way to deliver babies. So if you like stories, I use a lot of storytelling to tell the stories so that people can understand the truth about health.
You know, we've heard our entire lives about menopause and the tragic things that women go through. Why is it we never put focus on male menopause?
Well, it's different physiology, and there is some parallel between a woman's reduced production of natural estrogen and progesterone and a male having less testosterone later in life. But for women, the benefits of replacing their body's estrogen are overwhelming and far outweigh the benefits that we see with testosterone replacement in men. For example, women who go through menopause who start estrogen within 10 years of menopause live 3.5 years longer. Their blood vessels stay healthier because it increases nitric oxide. They have half the rate of heart attacks. The rate of cognitive decline goes down by 50 to 60%. It prevents Alzheimer's with a 35% relative risk reduction. And if a woman falls, she's far less likely to break a bone or have a hip fracture because the bones are stronger when a woman starts estrogen. All these benefits are tremendous, but sadly, 80% of doctors don't prescribe estrogen for postmenopausal women because they perceive that it causes an increase in breast cancer mortality, which it never did. The data never supported that, and I go through that in the book.
Hopefully I'm not crossing the line with this next one, only because, you know, we've always read about how antibiotics and our body gets used to it. Well, I just had my 6th COVID shot because I'm always out in the public. Is my body ever going to get used to that and it's not going to work anymore?
Well, there's a theory that multiple COVID booster shots may reduce one's immune response to COVID and increase susceptibility. There was a famous study during the Omicron outbreak that found that people with multiple boosters actually had an increased susceptibility. Now, it was just one study, but it did sort of raise that question, and there is a bit of a debate going on among immunologists.
How can people get in touch with you in the way of reading this book and activating this book? Because they're going to get the information in it, but then they're going to have questions. And I think that's what people need to do. If you're going to activate it and learn from it, we've got to have answers to questions.
Yeah, so I'm on social media of all sorts, and the book is called Blind Spots. I've got a website, martymd.com. And I hope the book creates a conversation and people see the latest scientific research and make decisions for themselves.
Man, 10 minutes with you is just not enough because, I mean, we didn't hit opioids. We didn't talk about so many different things, but I just want people to get their hands on this book and ask themselves the question and then go to your book.
Well, thanks so much. I hope people enjoy reading it as much as I enjoyed writing it.
Absolutely. Will you be brilliant today, okay, sir?
All right. Have a good day.